You meet someone calm. He treats you well. He's consistent. He replies when he says he will. And instead of feeling happy, you feel bored. You don't feel much of anything. But the man who left you on red for days, disappeared without explanation, then suddenly came back, the one who adored you one day and ignored you the next, he had you completely obsessed, checking your phone every 10 minutes. That felt like butterflies, like adrenaline, like something you called love. So you start wondering why you always end up choosing the same kind of man. Here's the truth almost no one tells you. This isn't simply your taste in men. It's your nervous system replaying an old program. A long time ago, you learned that love feels like tension, like uncertainty, like always being on edge. So when something calm finally shows up, your body doesn't recognize it as love. It interprets it as boredom, or even as a sign that something must be wrong. Let me show you where this comes from, because once you understand it, you stop blaming yourself. Let's start with the deepest reason of all. Sigmund Freud described something called repetition compulsion. The idea is uncomfortable, but it explains so much. When a painful experience from childhood is never fully resolved, your unconscious mind keeps pushing you to recreate it in adulthood, hoping that this time the ending will be different. If the love you received as a child was unpredictable, a parent who was present one day and gone the next, warm one moment and emotionally distant the next, your mind learns that this is what love looks like. Without realizing it, you begin searching for that same pattern as an adult, because a part of you is still trying to win the battle you lost as a child. You want the emotionally unavailable man to finally stay, so you can prove that this time you are enough. Think about the woman who grew up with a father who constantly came and went, and then falls in love, over and over again, with men who do exactly the same thing. That isn't bad luck. It's her mind trying to rewrite a story that never got its ending 20 years ago. The second piece comes from the body, and psychiatrist Bessel van der Kolk explains why. His research showed that trauma isn't stored only in memory, it's stored in the body, and he discovered something crucial. Under stress, people who grew up in chaotic environments instinctively return to what feels familiar, even when that familiarity is painful, because the familiar feels safer than the unknown. Van der Kolk also describes something you may recognize. Many people with a history of chaos actually become uncomfortable when life is peaceful. Calm doesn't relax them. It makes them uneasy, because their bodies learned that silence is simply the moment before something explodes. The third piece is even more biological, and it comes from researcher Stephen Porges. He explained that your nervous system decides whether you're safe or in danger before you consciously think a single thought. He called this process neuroception, and it happens entirely beneath your awareness. Here's why that matters. If you grew up surrounded by tension, constant conflict, unpredictability, emotional instability, your body learned that living on high alert is normal. So when you meet a calm, emotionally healthy man, he doesn't trigger your alarm system, and your body mistakes the absence of alarm for the absence of attraction. But when you meet someone chaotic, your alarm system immediately activates. Your heart races, your stomach tightens, and you mistake that activation for passion. You're reading your own anxiety as if it were love. There's one final piece that completes the puzzle. Psychologist Patrick Carnes described what is known as a trauma bond, when affection and pain come from the same person, and you never know which version of them you're going to get. Your attachment doesn't become weaker, it becomes stronger. The good moments, arriving unpredictably after the painful ones, create a level of emotional addiction that steady, reliable love simply cannot compete with. That's why the man who consistently treats you well can feel flat, and the man who hurts you, disappears, then apologizes, can feel irresistible. Remember that feeling when someone ignored you for days and then suddenly texted you? That overwhelming rush of relief, that emotional high. It feels like proof that you're deeply in love. But in reality, it's simply your body relaxing after days of emotional stress. You mistake relief for love. Put these 4 pieces together, and suddenly everything starts making sense. Now let's talk about what this actually looks like in everyday life. You lose interest in emotionally stable men and call it a lack of chemistry. You feel magnetically drawn toward people who always seem just out of reach. You mistake anxiety, that knot in your stomach, for butterflies. When a relationship becomes too peaceful, you unconsciously create conflict because peace itself feels uncomfortable. You say you hate drama, yet somehow you miss it when it's gone. Deep down, you believe that if a relationship doesn't feel intense, it isn't real love. Picture this. You're dating someone genuinely kind. He texts you every day. He follows through on what he promises. He's emotionally available. Instead of feeling relieved, you feel strangely empty. You begin looking for flaws that probably wouldn't bother you if he were harder to get. That reaction doesn't necessarily mean he's the wrong person. It means your nervous system still doesn't know how to feel safe. None of this means you're broken, and it certainly doesn't mean you're bad at choosing partners. Your nervous system learned these rules because they once helped you survive an environment you never chose. Back then, the pattern made sense. The problem is that today, it keeps pulling you toward the people who reopen your oldest wounds and pushing you away from the people who could finally bring you peace. So what actually helps? Step 1. Rename the feeling. The next time you think, "there's no spark," stop and ask yourself whether what you really mean is, "there's no anxiety." Those are 2 very different things. But for years, you may have treated the second as if it were a requirement for love. Step 2. Give calm enough time. Attraction toward emotionally healthy people often grows slowly. It doesn't always hit like lightning. Give someone who treats you well 3 or 4 months before deciding there's nothing there. Step 3. Choose consistency over intensity. Because the strongest attraction you feel is often pointing straight toward the kind of man who repeats your original wound. Step 4. Regulate your nervous system outside of relationships. Sleep well. Move your body. Go to therapy if you can. Build routines that make your life feel stable. The calmer your body becomes, the less foreign healthy love will feel. And finally, name your pattern out loud. When you can recognize it while it's happening, instead of only after it's over, you begin taking away its power. Here's what I want you to remember. The calm you call boredom is often what safety feels like. Your body just hasn't learned to recognize it yet. And the chaos you mistake for love is simply your old alarm system going off. You are not damaged for feeling this way. You learned to survive inside a storm. That was an intelligent response to what you lived through. Now your task is different. Little by little, teach your body that peace is also love, and that you deserve a love you never have to earn through fear. If you saw yourself somewhere in this video, let me know in the comments. Are you chasing chaos or running away from peace? Subscribe for more videos like this and leave a like so this message reaches another woman who may need to hear it today.